you've been spending time here for the past 2 months or so, you'll know what fic we're doing today. Yes, we're still here. No, I don't think we're ever gonna leave. This is chapter 46, part 4. Let's do this. 30 days until the portal closes, and we're spending time with Aunt May. Pierre paced across the room with his arms folded, groaning as he struggled to pull his gaze from the ground. Aunt May, there's no easy way to put this. What are you talking about? May snapped, wanting to soak tissue in her hand. You've been gone for 4 years. You never called or anything. Lord Peter, I thought you were dead. She shook her head. What's worse is you came back telling me a story like that, trapped in another world. Honestly. Slapping his hand on his forehead, Pierre exhaled. It's the truth! Only a few minutes had passed, but it felt like an eternity for Pierre. His aunt had every right to be furious. He read the sides of his temples. Look, this isn't easy. I don't even think I got around the bend. Exhaling, Pierre shrugged. Fine, maybe this'll be easier to believe. May nearly shrieked as Pierre flipped into the air, perching himself on the ceiling. He stood on the middle of the living room with his shirt lifted, feeling the costume underneath. Twilight sat quietly on the couch, while May stared at her nephew, eyes wide and mouth agape. The young man sighed bitterly. In this particular situation, there was no way to mince words. To convince his aunt of the truth, he had to introduce her to his alter ego, Spider-Man. Well, I kind of was hoping you were going to do that anyway, Pierre, considering the fact that the moment you are done here, you're going back to Equestria. After a brief but awkward amount of time, Pierre lowered his shirt and exhaled, starting to flip from the ceiling. But his foot tore a weak spot in the plaster, causing a chunk in Pierre to fall. Pierre landed on his hands, recollecting his balance. Ripped a piece from the ceiling from his heel, but before anyone could react, Polly extended her hand and violent energy fell into material. May slipped to her seat, weak-kneed, as the plaster found its way back to its place in the ceiling. Snapping her fingers, Twilight caused the material to glow brightly before disappearing, erasing all evidence of any damage. Oh, my lord. Hello. May managed, putting her hand over her chest to calm her beating heart. You know, I always like the interpretation. I see it that Aunt May always knew. She just never told him so he could run around and be Spider-Man. I always liked that interpretation, and I'm glad that two the material that I played have actually went with that. Granted, I don't mind seeing Spider-Man Homecoming's interpretation. But Spider-Man Homecoming's awesome. So, this entire time, Neil trailed off, her hands fizzing in her lap. She shook her head, glancing out to the side, before directing her sight back to her nephew. It's no wonder you were always able to get those pictures. It's surprising, but it does make sense. Her initial shock subsided, a smile formed on her face. My nephew, Spider-Man. Even when the Daily Bugle labeled you a criminal, you continued to save people and take pictures of it. You left quite a mark on the city. When Spider-Man disappeared, or rather when you did, criminals practically took over the city. The Bugle even went bankrupt, without more liable against their favorite whipping boy to sell their rag. Pierre's eyes widened. Seriously? They went out of business? What about JJ? Uh, you know, I find this kind of hard to believe, Vic, that Spider-Man was the only thing keeping the Bugle up. Really? Really? Triple J couldn't come up with any other articles, editorials. Eddie couldn't done his part. You mean the only thing that was keeping the Bugle from going bankrupt is just Spider-Man? That's kind of hard for me to believe. Especially after I just finished playing the Spider-Man PS4 game where we found out that was not the truth. There were no articles about Spider-Man, so the Bugle does handle that. But really, the Bugle couldn't do anything to do pieces on other superheroes? On mutants? You just pulled this one out of your ass, didn't you? Oh, wait. This also gets me. When Spider-Man disappeared, criminals practically took over the city. Wow, so this means that Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and Matt Murdock, Moon Knight, and even Frank must really suck at their jobs, or they do not exist. Either way, again, kind of flimsy here. I mean, we all know Peter Parker takes down the down-home criminals, but Spider-Man disappears, and suddenly the criminals have a free day? What was Luke doing? Just sitting back, bouncing the little baby on his knee? Okay, that image is cute, but come on! What about Deathlock? Moon Knight? Hello? Vic? You do know about the other street-based superheroes, right? I mean, I can forgive if the Avengers weren't doing their part, or if the Avengers were too busy. I mean, that sometimes happens. I mean, they got big things. But not all of them are handling world disasters. You got people like Luke and hell, Cloak and Dagger could be busy doing stuff like that. Hell, I'm surprised any of the gangs could get a foot on the ground if Ben Grimm was doing his job. You mean nobody stepped up? No one? Okay, I'll be right back. I got a guy named Miles to talk to. Hey, what, come here, stop, bite, yo! What did you have a spider bite me, man? I'll tell you when you're older. Hell, I'll even take Camilla. Is that how you pronounce her name? Camilla? Camilla? The new Miss Marvel. Cute teen. Kind of sexy. May shook her head. No, the Bugle's still in business. It's clear they're on their last legs, though. Spider-Man was the reason they were so successful financially. What? So, were they a struggling newspaper before Spider-Man showed up? However, when those crime rates rose and you were nowhere to be found, people finally started to realize how false some of the Bugle's accusations were. I can only imagine that there's a certain Ben who's kicking himself, thinking that he's written some great articles on Daredevil and nobody's reading them! Oh, no, I don't mean Ben Parker or Ben Riley. I mean Ben Urich is the guy that I'm thinking of right now. Probably going, man, did I get on the wrong horse? Sally Floyd, on the other hand, just got drunk, threw a couple of balls around, and screamed her head off about how nobody was paying attention to her, and then went to insult Superman to his face because Superman didn't have a Facebook page. No, I do not like her. If you want to know why, I remind you, Civil War Frontline number 11. Which, I would like to add, I find hilarious in hindsight. Do you even have a MySpace page, Captain America? You claim to represent America, but you don't even have that. MySpace isn't even relevant anymore. And what about NASCAR? Does anybody really enjoy NASCAR? Other than those people in the South? Only woman in hell, before continuing. I went to the Bugle personally. I asked where he had gone to, but he didn't have the finest idea. No one has seen or heard from you. It was as if you had disappeared. I was afraid you might have committed suicide over Gwendolyn. You took her death so hard.
I assumed the worst since he eventually grew to accept the responsibility.
Shame filling his eyes, Pierre turned his head to the side. I'm sorry, Aunt May. I didn't mean to worry you. May's smile grew.
It's quite alright, dear. I'm grateful and happy. My Pierre is a hero. Ben would be so proud if he were here right now. Oh, by the way, I married Ben Urich.
As Pierre recoiled at the sound of his uncle's name, May shifted her attention to Twilight.
So, you're the reason my nephew has been gone so long? Rather difficult for me to believe that you're not from our world. You look so normal. Is that why Pierre said it was the one you summoned? Our world is full of heroes.
Pierre rested his chin in his hand. That's the same thing I said. Twilight nodded. She doubted May would take well for a real form being a pony, so she hadn't said anything when Pierre glossed that part over. As he didn't say anything now.
Yes, ma'am. My village was in danger, and I performed a spell that summoned the greatest hero in any world that existed. However, Superman was busy. As a result, Spider-Man was the one who appeared, but it was only before I learned the spell was irreversible. She sighed as her gaze fell to the ground. I'm sorry. I was desperate to save my friends and didn't stop properly to think about the repercussions. Pierre was forced to adapt to our culture, and not once did he complain.
Besides, for all the times you woke me up before daybreak, Pierre deadpanned. Constantly, Twilight did not turn him aside. Despite the remark, Twilight's cheeks burned while her lips curled to smile. Over time, I found out we had so much in common. Yeah, like Twilight is a... And Twilight has... And Twilight is... Well, Pierre's... And Pierre has... Well, if you don't see how much they have in common after listening for the past 46 chapters, I can't help you. Fuck you.
I need help figuring out, but I fell in love with Pierre. He returned my feelings, and the past few weeks have been so wonderful.
Pierre's arm fell over the girl's shoulder once her voice began to waver. Twice smiled leaning into her lover.
I couldn't be happier or luckier.
May chuckled softly.
I'm happy for you, too.
Smiling playfully, the older woman took a glass of lemonade in hand, prompting Twilight to lift her own magically.
Are you keeping my nephew out of trouble? It sounds like he is lazy as ever.
Twilight stared flatly at Pierre from the corner of her eye.
That's an understatement, Mrs. Parker. I'm usually the one who has to wake him up every morning. He's also forgetful and absent-minded. Can't tell you how many appointments he's missed.
Pierre rolled his eye. Everybody's a critic.
Twilight patted his side, laughing. Pierre's very sweet, but he's a complete mess at times. Someone has to keep him in check. May's eyes widened before she smirked devilishly. I love her, Peter. Make sure you treat her nicely and do as she says.
Pierre grumbled incoherently, though the words bossy woman figured prominently. Twilight elbowed his side, prompting the young man to give his aunt an affirming nod against his will. May watched the couple with a sweet smile, but a realization came to her. Her expression fell into sadness, as she gently placed her glass back on the table, sighing.
Peter,
Pierre could see his aunt's obvious sorrow. He shook his head. I'm sorry, but it took Dr. Strange a lot just to get me here for a short time. So 30 days is all I have here on Earth. Until we take care of the goblin, there's no way I could come back. Pierre reached over, took Twilight's hand into him, squeezing it gently. Besides, I'm needed in Equestria because I've been able to make a difference there. Not to mention, as my duty at night as a prince, sworn to protect Twilight and the rest of the country. With great power
comes great responsibility. Goodness gracious, you sound just like Ben now.
May stated, pressing her face free of a stray tear. And Pierre cringed at the mention of his uncle. But May remained oblivious, standing from her seat with a new sense of figure. She walked over, embracing Pierre at the moment he stood.
I always knew you were a special son. I couldn't be more proud of you.
Cupping the young man's face in her hands, May steamed deeply into her nephew's eyes, with a teary-eyed smile before stepping back towards the kitchen.
I know it's late, but would you two like something to eat?
Pierre waved away the offer. Save it for tomorrow, Aunt May. We should head back to the Sanctum Sanctorum before it's too late. Older woman slumped, disheartened.
Can you stay? You only got a month before I lose you again.
Pierre kissed her on the cheek. I'm sorry, Aunt May. We have to stay at the Sanctum with Dr. Strange. The spell keeping me here on Earth needs to be recharged every day or two. And I need to stay near him. But I can come visit while I'm here. May put on a brave face for her nephew.
Please do. I've been so lonely here without you. I mean, I've only had Ben Urich to keep me company.
What?
And a few other of the more famous older gentlemen of the Marvel Universe. Marvelous. They've always come every night and make me feel young again.
What?
Oh, the things I could tell you, Peter. So many happy memories. Okay, Twilight, we gotta get going now. Bye!
As he helped Twilight from her seat afterward, Peter offered his aunt a week's sincere smile. I'm giving Twilight a tour to see tomorrow. We'll have to stop by around lunchtime. Make sure you break from your world-famous apple pie. No one really lived until they tried it at least once. Besides, Wyatt really realized he said, "Oh no, Aunt May. No meat! Twilight can't eat meat. Her species is her horse. Dairy, eggs, and small amount of fish are okay, but it'd be really awkward if you tried to feed her some roast." Twilight raised her brow.
Roast, what's that?
Chuckling nervously, Peter dismissed the whip of his hand. "I'll tell you when we get home." Sitting his gaze back to the older woman, Peter placed his hands on her shoulders. "How about it, Aunt May? You sound good? We'll even let you be Spike, Twilight's purple and green pet dragon. You see his face is softy."
Like Bonnie,
May suggested innocently. Peter rolled his eyes. "Bonnie's a dinosaur, Mount May. Spike's way cooler and far more intelligent. Plus, doesn't mangle show tunes, that's always a plus."
What's wrong with show tunes? Twilight balked. Harry received a blank stare from Peter. She motioned with her finger. Anyway, Spike's my assistant. He's like my baby brother more than anything. May's hands clapped over her mouth. Sounds like a sweetheart. So he likes show tunes. Does he like instrumental music? Maybe Spike would like to hear my Kenny G collection.
Shaking his head, Peter moaned, "Aunt May, stop that. I'd rather it not scar me for life again. Anyway, after lunch, we'll take you over to Sanctus Sanctorum to visit Spike. Make a few extra pies for him. Appetite is a lot bigger than it used to be." Escorting the young couple to the door, May grinned.
Of course, dear. I'm looking forward to meeting him and seeing you again. I know you won't be late with Twilight around you.
The answer was expected, but May wasted no time in embracing Peter once more, clutching him as he was afraid he would disappear again. Instantly, she relinquished her grip. As Peter stepped outside, he stole a hug from Twilight, earning a surprise to eat from the girl.
Thank you for watching, Peter. I'm counting on you, okay?
She whispered, sharing a warm smile with Twilight afterward. As the pair walked off, May closed the door and allowed her tears to run.
Oh, Ben, I thought I lost him too. All right, boys, you can all come out of hiding. Every single one of you. Come on, man. Men, Aunt May has got her engine revved up and ready to go.
Okay, this is going to sound very, very cruel, but, I think it would have been better for the story and kind of nicer if we had killed Aunt May. No, hear me out. I think it would have added some tragedies and really good character moments if we had just killed the old broad off. We'll see where out of sight hearing range from anyone. Peter stopped in his tracks to stare at the dark, cloudy sky. "Twilight, you should head to the Sanctus Sanctorum. I'm going to be a little late." Twilight slowed to a halt before arching her brow at her lover. His entire demeanor had changed so drastically in a short span of time. He was nervous on the way to his aunt's, more than Twilight had ever been before. Then, as he conversed with May, Peter was happy, practically giddy in the company of his surrogate mother. But now, evident by his dreary demeanor, the young man appeared to have been consumed by sorrow. Twilight edged closer, but Peter diverted his gaze to his side, as if desperate to avoid eye contact. They remained silent, each waiting for the other to bulge. The only sound heard between the pair was the wind rustling through the autumn leaves. Twilight closed the gap before reaching for Peter's hand, squeezing it tightly.
"I'm in no rush. Where were you planning on going?"
she asked, displaying her resolve and affection. Peter bit his lip, forcing his gaze to meet with the flat girl's eyes. "It's not that I don't want you to come. It's just..." Peter paused to clear his throat. To the trained ear, he only masked a sob. Peter forced a smile as best as he could before Twilight could comment on the previous act. "I'm not going to a happy place. I just don't want to bring down your mood." Twilight shook her head.
"You're not going to get rid of me that easily. Besides, you're upset. I know you. Not a good idea for you to be alone right now."
Her hand trembled as it clung to Peter's.
"Let me come with you, please."
Peter closed his eyes and sighed. Twilight was as servant as ever, and was proving being rather frustrating.
Before coming to Equestria, Peter practically made a living out of keeping secrets, but that had changed since Twilight came to his life. What was worse was his ability to say no, a trait that he had never excelled at to begin with. In the past, his dual life gave him the strength to deny the requests of others. Even Gwen was the receiving end of this, as he didn't know Peter Parker and Spider-Man were the same. However, Equestrian seemed to be impervious to Peter's trump card, especially the mayor that stole his heart. Peter wanted to say no. He really did. This was something personal he wanted to deal with. But Twilight was the center of his life now, meaning it was fruitless to attempt to be secretive with someone who already knew so much about him. And not virtually everything. Peter groaned inwardly, glancing at the glossy-eyed, pleading stare of Twilight had flustered over her pink blush. If all else failed, Twilight would resort to the puppy dog eyes. For Peter, the end result would be the same. It's completely unfair. Nothing he minded deep down. With a defeated smile, Peter wrapped his arm over Twilight's shoulder before continuing to walk. All right, you can come along. I'll have to make a quick stop at a flower shop first. The sound of thunder roared to the clouds as the sky darkened. Peter sighed, feeling some failure to the impending weather. We'll need to bring an umbrella, too. Skimming over a few bits more, because trust me, you're not missing much, everybody. It's just more random flashbacks about Scullo's developing relationship with Peter and how close he grew to Peter Parker that, quite frankly, would have been better put in the previous chapters. The same goes for all this Trixie bit that they mentioned, where apparently Trixie is talking about having feelings and saying that she is okay and she has feelings for Peter. I don't like it where that is going. But again, stuff that could have been put in the previous story. The previous chapters could have had this, and I would have had a problem. Okay, actually, I would have had a problem because this was all more. This is why Peter is awesome. But yeah, you're not missing much, people. Rain poured from the sky, dampening the concrete jungle that was the city. The settings were somber and quaint, with slabs of marble scattered across the vicinity, each protruding from the ground. Twilight stood with her umbrella perched over her head, shielding her frame from the surrounding storm. She maintained her silence out of respect. It was a resting place for the dead, but that was proving rather difficult. Peter knelt in front of the graves, pausing to run his fingers over the name embedded in the stone before retrieving a rose from the damp box by his side. He tossed the dead flowers and the pedestal away, carefully putting the rose in their place. Despite how drenched his hair and clothes had become, Peter took his time to murmur a prayer. Twilight, upon seeing the young man lower his head, mirrored the action, but kept her distance a few feet away. Seconds later, she opened her eyes and stole one final glance at the grave, which read Benjamin Parker. It's my fault he's here. I should have told Aunt May the truth. Peter stayed, his words slicing through the silent air. Placing his hands over his knees, Peter forced himself into a standing position, but gaze remained fixed on the grave and back toward Twilight. His hair fell over his eyes, but the young man didn't care. His concern centered on those around him. I was a stupid kid. I died because I didn't do anything. It's redundant, but I wish I could have gone back to apologize. Won't change anything now, but at least you know I love him. Twilight stepped forward and reached out, hesitantly placed a hand over Peter's soaked shoulder. It's been years since your uncle died. Telling your aunt won't change anything. It was an innocent mistake on your part. I had no way to foresee what would happen. Besides, your uncle does know that you love him. Peter turned to him at the latter's statement, only to be greeted by a closed-eyed, honest smile from his lover. It's because your uncle isn't here physically. Doesn't mean he's not here spiritually. The connection you two could never be severed. After all, he was more of a father than an uncle to you. Twilight opened her eyes and nodded, never losing her smile for a second. That's why I know he's still watching over you. And I'm sure he's proud of what you become. You know, there's one thing I gotta respect and kind of surprised about the Spider-Man PS4 game. They didn't bring out the Uncle Ben card. I mean, there were several moments they could have brought it in. Like, during the whole entire bit where Peter was suffering from hallucinations and was dealing with his own means of self-confidence, it would have been cool if they were breaking Uncle... When Peter was just about to break down, That's when Uncle Ben came in to build his spirits up. Also, it would have been really cool to have a mention like that during the Doc Ock scene. But I'm kind of glad he didn't use that crutch. I really am. Because one, it shows that Pierre, in a sense, has been growing further and become more responsible. And also, shows that you don't always need to rely on that crutch in order to make us worry and care about Pierre. Nodding Pierre's side, I hope you're right, Twilight. Freeing his hair from his vision, Pierre reached down for his box and walked over to the girl. There's one more person I needed to see. Most before continuing for the cemetery. Twilight followed, staring involuntarily as drops of rain breezed through the fences of her umbrella. It took a few moments, but the journey had been completed. Pierre quickly pulled his rose from the box, not caring once the wind snatched the cardboard from its grass, and placed it in the grave's pedestal. He lowered himself onto a knee, but this could no longer stand. Unable to control the immense sadness, his emotions held back. Through a choked voice, Pierre shook his head as tears fell, answering the rain that poured from above. His shoulders trembled, no longer bearing great strength his alter ego was known for. He placed his hand over the grave. The entire world had fallen on him, but he didn't care. For now, it was well deserved in his eyes. The innocent woman was dead because of his actions. Pierre's fingers trailed over the name etched in stone. I'm so sorry, Gwen. This didn't have to happen. I should have saved you. His life was filled with new memories, but the old would always remain. Gwen Stacy was the first woman he had ever loved, other than Betty Brant, and her life ended much sooner than it should have, all thanks to Osborn's sadistic vendetta and Pierre's reckless attempt to save her. Even the thunder's roar could not have mute that horrible snap from the young man's memory. Gwen's death could have been prevented in several ways. Pierre could have tried a different method of webbing to stop her death plunge, but the easiest alternative was to simply tell his former lover the truth. Yet, she hated Spider-Man for what happened to her father. Had Peter been upfront with her from the start, Gwen probably would have broken up with him. It was a possibility, one Pierre wishes he took. He would have taken a failed relationship over Gwen's death. In a sense, it was selfish. Pierre had to live with the fact that he had a hand in his former lover's death. It was his greatest failure, one Pierre would never live down. The young man forced himself to stand, but the rain could not mask his tears or sorrow. Pierre's hand fell over his face, trembling as it gripped his strands of wet hair. The moment he turned around, Twilight dropped her umbrella, wrapped her slim arms around Pierre's neck, buried her face into his soaked neck, squeezing her lover with all the strength she could muster. The wind whipped her violet hair about, but eventually stilled against her back, thanks to the added weight of the rain absorbed. The temperature dropped to a chill, making her breath become visible in the air. Her body shivered, succumbing to the weather. Twilight dug her fingers into Pierre's shoulders, refusing to let go. Should he fail, Twilight's life was as good as forfeit. But the thought never crossed her mind, not once. She only wanted to stay by her side. To show the love they shared for each other was worth 1,000 times the impending danger. Pierre gritted his teeth. Twilight was stupid for believing in him. His defenses crumbled, much like the rock that turned to dust. Pierre threw his arms around Twilight's body. Was it right? He didn't deserve this, yet he couldn't turn this away. Pierre loved Gwen, but he could not dwell on her death. He found to cherish the connection they shared. Through that, Pierre would always remember the best times he had with Gwen. That would push him further to protect what he had now. A stronger love for someone who saved him from despair. Twilight was his present and future. To say Pierre loved Twilight more than Gwen was certainly a fact. Although it seemed that taboo in some aspects, it was! Pierre tightened his grip as a sob escaped from his mouth. He couldn't deny his feelings, nor would he even try. Gwen was his first love, but today, Pierre had to say goodbye and thank you. He never could visit her grave again. Through Gwen, Pierre knew to never fail his love again. It was his duty as Twilight's knight and lover. Pierre promised to protect Twilight with his life, for his sake as well as Gwen's. He clutched Twilight's body. He would never let her go. The web spread, each strand finding a new place to settle, but the center remained in disarray, his threads unable to join together. Madame Web leaned forward on her elbows and knees. She studied the phenomenon tirelessly, but no explanation came to mind. Spider-Man's life was meant to end, His strand in the web had already been severed. Madame Web held her hand out, in turn lifting the broken strands telepathically. She would attempt to fix the web again, if only to find another clue to pierce this connection. The strands glowed with a bright shade of violet, before separating completely from the rest of the gossamer. Cassandra's eyes widened behind her crimson blindfold. What is the meaning of this? The strands spread, creating a new web. Images of equestrians filled the threads, each finding a place along the web. But at the center, the main strand glowed of crimson light and violet gleam. Suddenly, Twilight's image appeared, alternating between her pony and human form. The entire web transformed once more, this time taking the shape of a violet star. However, at the center was the insignia of a black spire. Before Cassandra could react, the symbol disappeared in a bright flash of light. Images rushed through the confines of her mind, but she remained focused, soaring through to see where the web was traveling. Eventually found its host. Pierre and Twilight were sound asleep. The girl cuddled with her back against the man's chest. The insignia neared, forming to a violet orb of energy, rushed into Pierre's chest before fading. The image came to an abrupt web, sending a throb through Web's cranium. She massaged her temples with her fingers. Dr. Strange's words regarding the connections Twilight and Pierre had back in Equestria finally made sense. Madame Web nodded. I see. I understand now. Spider-Man has begun to form a new web of life on Equestria. However, Peter is not the center of the web. Twilight Sparkle is. No shit, Sherlock! The vision was faint, an image of a crimson web with a violet center before disappearing. Cassandra raised her head. I fear that Peter has become the web of life. What? He is not aware, but I can sense several connections are beginning to form within. I must study this further. But I am starting to believe that Twilight's assassin is an alicorn, maybe the cause of change since her spirit has merged with Peter's. Oh God, you're not. Madame Web flicked her wrist as the surrounding web disappeared from sight. Perhaps this may prevent Spider-Man's death. I can only pray for the best. Luna transversed to her through a spiral wave. The journey was proving more difficult than she anticipated. There was a light at the end of the tunnel. Inhaling deeply, she ripped through the vortex. Skating to a halt was the surrounding air as she dissipated. Breathing was erratic. Her body shivered from the act performed. Luna exhaled, knowing she had managed poorly. Interdimensional travel was challenging, even for one exceptionally skilled in the magical arts. What was a minor setback as her dexterity was to be commended. The surrounding area was dark, indicating it was currently nighttime. Luna smiled inwardly. Darkness was her element. Nothing could catch her off guard at night. However, that thought was unceremoniously crushed when the knight came into the room into a simple click. She turned sharply, finding a strange bipedal creature stretching his arms over his head, letting out a low yawn. And Luna remained calm to the absurd situation, she was well to seeing the creature walking comforts from the bed. However, this was not the case. Far from it. Howling ferociously, she fired a lightning bolt from her horn, striking the bipedal creature squarely in the chest and sending it crashing through the wall behind the bed. Another creature shot out of bed, shrieking at the top of her lungs, her eyes widened to sight standing in front of her bed. Her hands rose defensively once it seemed the Alicorn was ready to blast her as well. Princess Luna! Wait! It's me! Twilight! She yelped, sighing once the magic of the bear's horn dissipated. Luna's brows rose and eyes widened. Well, I would. Although her parents have been heavily altered, Twilight's distinct features, such as her violet-pink mane, magical signature were still the same. Luna closed the distance. Twilight wrapped her arms around the Alicorn's neck, embracing the princess. The mayor smiled as he broke away. You're certainly all being truthful when you wrote to my sister regarding your transformation. I know so much has happened, but I could hope that there could be some assistance during this time. The Alicorn's horn flashed for a second, causing various items to fall across the room. My sister thought it would be better for Peter if he had his necessary supplies. Also, Peter told me that once our diamonds, rubies, and gemstones and moonstones would be of some valuable here in this world. Hopefully this will help. It is just a small portion of his salary earned for his heroic and knightly duties. Please inform Peter that he must stop picking up his payments, otherwise the fault will start up. Once the last of the supplies fell near the back of the room, Luna shook her head before furrowing her brow. My apologies, Twilight. In my panic, I nearly forgot the most important thing. Who was that bipedal creature to whom I just attacked? Twilight slowly turned to the large hole that stood over her head, clumsily stood on the mattress, peeking through the opening. Actually, Princess Luna, she hesitated. chuckling nervously as her gaze met with the alicorn's. I think you made the same mistake I did when I first woke up on Earth. Luna tilted her head to the side. What do you mean? 3 walls and 2 doors down, Pierre lay flat on the bed with chunks of wood rock over his body. There was a strange stare at the structure that led to the foot of his bed, particularly the young man staring blankly at the ceiling. So I teleported to her room, carefully tiptoeing past the debris scattered across the floor, before kneeling down next to Pierre. Luna appeared in a bright flash of light behind Twilight, shooting a glare towards Strange once his befuddled stare fell into her direction. Spike reared his head through the hole in the wall and gasped. Whoa, what happened? I heard an explosion and... Oh. The dragon paused to leave the alicorn. Hi, Princess Luna. Pierre, still slumped on the ground, rose his fingers slur. Doc, I need 2 things. Give Luna a human form so she can fit in everything. Luna shook her head and raised her hoof. That will not be necessary. I am adept at the safety thing. I will consult with Twilight Sparkle about the details I will need. Stephen nodded, stretching his goatee. That's taken care of. What's the second thing you need, Pierre? Twilight's help. Pierre pulled himself to sitting position. Only you hear a crack escape from his back. Predator, he groaned. 29 days until the portal room closes. It's not really going to matter much anymore now, does it? Pierre stood in the main lobby, sitting his gaze between his girlfriend, wallet, and map. He grinned as Twilight smiled, swinging her legs happily under his ear. You seem raring to go. Right? Excited? He took the available seat next to Twilight, sliding his wallet back into his jacket pocket. How's Luna holding up? You two have been locked up in the room for hours since she transformed herself into a human. Heck, I don't even know what she looks like yet. Are you sure you'll be up for a tour to see? You didn't get any sleep. Twilight giggled as he buttoned her jacket up. Well, she's beautiful and quite tall, too. Princess Luna even got to keep her wings, but that's because she refused to lose them. Blush for her teeth as Pierre took a hold of her hand. She nodded, smiled as vibrant as ever. I'm fine, Pierre. Princess Luna is a fast learner. She's already learned how to walk upright and use her fingers. If anything, clothes are the only giving her trouble. Her wings, she makes putting on clothes rather tiresome. But the princess urged me to enjoy my day with you while she situates herself. She ran her 3 hands to her head. Are we still waiting for Mr. Stark? I would really like to study the technology in Stark Tower. Peter shrugged. Yeah, he's checking out those diamonds Luna bought for us. I figured we could get a few bucks for Tony since he's a billionaire and he's into that type of stuff. A few $100 would be nice. Really want to show you a good time, Twi. We'll have a good time regardless, Twi sweetly replied, patting Pierre's shoulder. She rolled over and pressed her lips against his cheek, giggling as Pierre's face glowed. He's so sweet. Grinning, Pierre scratched the back of his head. Stop that, you're killing me with kindness. Twi walked into the room, phone in his hand, tinkering with the device for several moments. It wasn't until Pierre stood from his seat that the older man finally peeked in his direction. What's the story? What's the story, Shellhead? Jewel's worth anything? Tony nodded, keeping his gaze on his phone. Yeah. Jarvis detected those gems are beacons of energy. They could be used as an alternative power sources for my tower and armor. I'd love to take all of them from your hands, if you're fine with it. Pierre nodded slightly shrugged, earning a smirk from the billionaire. Good man. I saw you don't have a bank account, so I created one for you and compensated you for your goods. Tony offered a card for Pierre. Here's your debit card. Your PIN is 1963. Clever! Clever! I'll give you a point for that one. Don't spend it all at once. Chuckling, Pierre took the card aside. I hid it carefully. Well, thanks. How much does he give me? A couple hundred? 300 million. Figured it'd be fair. Tony muttered, reaching his pocket for his car keys. Pierre held the card as a strand of drool dripped from the side of his mouth, babbling incoherently. By the time Tony finally found his keys, all the blood Pierre's pocket rushed to his head. The young man collapsed, bouncing off the table before meeting with the ground. Twilight yelled as he knelt down, using the amount to make him fan to cool her boyfriend off. Tony looked around aimlessly. What? 300 million? Is it enough? Fine. I'll give you 500 million if it spares me from seeing you dying on Steven's floor.